In the first season, we talked about Saitama, the strongest man in the universe who can defeat most monsters with just one punch. Even though he is very strong, because his written test score was too low, the Hero Association classified him as a B-class hero. He took in a disciple named Genos, who became an S-class hero. After they defeated the alien Boros, the Earth became peaceful again. Suddenly, they hear a girl screaming on the street. A frog-like monster is causing trouble, but unfortunately it encounters King, who is ranked 7th in the S-class. As soon as the monster sees King, it gets scared and begs for mercy. However, despite his tough appearance, King's biggest hobby is playing video games, especially a game called Hardbaired Hottie Sisters 2. He just bought the limited edition and wants to go home and play. But halfway there, a mysterious organization's killing machine called G4 wants to challenge King. As G4 is about to attack, King's heart starts pounding, and a sound called the King's Engine is heard. It's a sound that King makes when he gets ready to fight. It is said that all the monsters who hear the King's Engine turn into ashes. However, G4 becomes more excited upon hearing the King's Engine. King accepts the challenge but requests to use the restroom first because he can't fight with a full bladder. In the restroom, King reveals his true emotions. He is scared, very scared. In fact, he isn't a powerful hero at all but just an unemployed person with no achievements. Even the legendary King's Engine is just the sound of his loud heartbeat due to extreme fear. Every time he faces strong monsters, he is lucky that someone else defeats them while he closes his eyes. That's how he became an S-class hero, by taking credit for others' victories. You've probably guessed it already. It's Saitama who always helps King defeat the monsters. However, at that time, they don't know each other's true identities. While King regrets not clarifying the truth with the Hero Association, the surroundings start shaking violently. King panics and takes the opportunity to escape. Genos takes King's place and fights against G4. Genos tries his latest move against G4, but G4 steps on Genos and pins him down. Saitama asks if Genos needs help, but Genos refuses, wanting to prove himself as an S-class hero. Saitama then turns back and goes home. Meanwhile, King has already returned home and is ready to forget the nightmare by playing video games. Saitama follows King home and catches him playing a dating sim game. King gets scared and wants to call the police, but then he remembers he is an S-class hero, so he pretends to be brave to scare Saitama away. Saitama doesn't care at all. He is completely distracted by a girl character in the game. On the other side, Genos continues to fight against G4. He charges forward and uses cannon to melt G4's armor. However, instead of being destroyed, G4 reveals a smaller yet stronger body. G4 unleashes intense and powerful laser beams. Genos has to find a way to deal with the lasers. He throws a fire extinguisher in the air, creating a cloud of powder that blocks G4's vision. Then, Genos opens a fire hydrant to restrict G4's movements using the water flow. Taking advantage of the situation, Genos uses steel cables to bind G4. The water vapor completely disables G4's lasers, and G4 is defeated. Meanwhile, Saitama and King are having a great time playing games together. Suddenly, a bird monster comes flying towards them. King is extremely scared to the point where he wets his pants out of fear. Saitama easily defeats the bird monster with one punch. Looking at Saitama standing in the sunlight, King suddenly remembers the past. He was once in a desperate situation when he was saved by a handsome guy with black hair. Now, he realizes that person is Saitama with hair. King confesses to Saitama that he is a fake hero who can't do anything. Meanwhile, after defeating G4, Genos collects the machine parts from G4's body. Then, Genos visits Dr. Casino to get some cool new upgrades using G4's machine parts. Dr. Casino is the scientist who turned Genos into a cyborg. In the Hero Association, a leader named Sitch is presiding over a special meeting. The attendees are not heroes, but a group of criminals. Ever since the fortune teller Shibabawa left a message before her death saying that the Earth is in trouble, disasters have been happening all over the world. The heroes in the Hero Association alone can handle all these disasters. So, the Hero Association wants to invite these criminals, who are also humans, to help protect the Earth. However, these criminals never change their nature, as they all have hidden motives. Sonic is much simpler in his motivations. He only came to defeat Saitama. Upon learning that Saitama is not at the headquarters, Sonic leaves. Meanwhile, the top-ranked B-class hero, Fubuki, is also searching for Saitama. Due to Saitama's astonishing performance in physical tests and his exaggerated speed, Fubuki believes that this bald guy is extraordinary and wants to recruit him for her own purposes. Genos. After Sonic leaves, the Hero Association's meeting comes to a complete standstill. The criminals have no intention of obediently following the Hero Association's orders. The 3 A-class heroes attending the meeting are dissatisfied with the association's decisions. They think these criminals are completely unreliable. At that moment, a cocky voice is heard as a man named Garou declares that everyone present is trash. He claims to be on the same side as the monsters and sees everyone there as his enemies. When they hear his arrogant words, an A-class hero magic trick man runs to challenge Garou but gets defeated instantly. The other 2 A-class heroes are also easily beaten by Garou. The criminals rejoice and cheer seeing the heroes lose. But suddenly, mutilated bodies start flying out as Garou kills all the criminals in the room. Garou doesn't kill Sitch because he wants Sitch to tell everyone about the scary human monster Garou. He reveals his plan to go hunt heroes. On the other side, Fubuki arrives in Z City, intending to find Saitama. Genos, who is doing household chores, senses something approaching at high speed. Seeing Saitama absorbed in his game, Genos decides to take action and test his new machine parts. The person who arrives is Sonic, who wants to fight Saitama. Genos tells Sonic that if he wants to fight Saitama, he has to pass Genos first. 10 minutes later, Saitama accidentally overwrites King's game save. While Sonic and Genos are fighting, Fubuki finds Saitama. She tells him that she is the B-class rank 1 hero, but Saitama has never heard of her. Fubuki explains that the Hero Association has different factions, and she wants Saitama to join her faction to protect her current position. However, Saitama refuses and says he will soon be promoted to the S-class. Saitama declines Fubuki's offer to join her faction. Fubuki gets angry and launches a powerful attack called the Hellstorm. A fierce hurricane engulfs Saitama, tossing him around. But Fubuki's triumph is short-lived as Saitama suddenly appears behind her. Fubuki becomes furious and unleashes another powerful attack. While they are engaged in combat, Saitama sees Sonic and Genos fighting behind her, just as an explosion is about to happen. When the smoke clears, it is revealed that Saitama protected Fubuki from the explosion, and he didn't get hurt at all. Fubuki is surprised to encounter S-class heroes here. She is shocked to see S-class Genos apologizing to B-class Saitama, and even calling him teacher. Genos relentlessly attacks Sonic, and Saitama notices that Genos has become slightly faster than before, but still slower compared to Sonic. Sonic demonstrates his ultimate speed, leaving 4 after images. Unable to locate Sonic, Genos unleashes his incineration cannon to destroy everything around him, but Saitama steps in and knocks down Genos, telling him not to damage their surroundings. Saitama decides to fight Sonic to make him stop bothering him. Sonic eagerly awaits the duel. Sonic uses his ultimate move called 10 Shadows Burial, which creates 10 copies of himself to attack. But Saitama has a secret move called Serious Side Hops. Sonic can't believe what he sees. Saitama quickly dodges Sonic's copies, and Sonic falls down hard. Fubuki is completely amazed by what she's witnessing. She never thought a B-class hero could be so powerful. Fubuki tells them that her older sister, Tatsumaki, who is the second-ranked S-class hero, has always been better than her. This has created a sense of inadequacy within her throughout her life. So when she finally became the first-ranked B-class hero, she did everything she could to secure and maintain her position. Fubuki tries to convince Saitama one last time to join her faction, but Saitama refuses. Just then, the doorbell rings, and King comes to retrieve his game console from Saitama. Fubuki is once again shocked to see Saitama casually talking and laughing with King. She doesn't understand why a B-class hero is surrounded by S-class heroes. However, Genos and King know the truth. Saitama is even more powerful than an S-class hero. At the Hero Association headquarters, a meeting is held to assign hero names to Saitama and Genos. In the end, Genos is named Demon Cyborg, while Saitama becomes Cade Baldy because of his bald head. At Bang's dojo, Bang, who is usually gentle, unexpectedly harshly beats his disciple Sharanko and kicks him out, criticizing him for not making enough effort to improve. Depressed and seeking help, Sharanko turns to Saitama. Genos asks if Bang's unusual behavior has anything to do with Garou causing trouble at the Hero Association. Bang, the third-ranked S-class hero, mentioned in the first season that he had a former top student named Garou who went out of control and defeated all his other students. Now, Garou has killed 3 A-class heroes and many criminals at the Hero Association meeting. Genos thinks that Bang made Sharanko leave his dojo to protect him from Garou. When Genos talks to Saitama about what happened, Saitama is more interested in Bang's cool hero name, Silverfang. and thinks it sounds better than his own name, Cape Baldy. On his way back, Suiryu wants to help his master Bang and ponders how to deal with Garou. He accidentally encounters Garou talking to Mumen Rider on the street. Mumen Rider is shocked by Garou's desire to hunt heroes. Tank Top Vegetarian arrives with the Tank Topper army, intending to teach Garou a lesson. However, Garou effortlessly defeats Tank Top Vegetarian with a single move, and the Tank Topper army is easily overpowered by him. Tank Top Master arrives and punches Garou, sending him flying. Garou, excited to finally face a formidable S-class hero, howls with joy. Tank Top Master unleashes his ultimate move, but to his surprise, Garou is just bleeding, but he hasn't fallen down. Garou, despite being a human, feels more terrifying than any monster. If he is not dealt with soon, he will become a great threat. Tank Top Master launches another powerful attack to try to kill Garou. Mumen Rider steps in and takes the punch from Tank Top Master, stating that as heroes, they should not kill ordinary humans. Tank Top Master agrees to let Garou go and asks him to leave. However, as Garou pretends to walk away, he suddenly stops and declares that he will kill them all no matter what. Garou then uses a special martial arts technique called Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist to knock Tank Top Master to the ground. This technique was taught to Garou by his former teacher, Bang. Garou starts teasing the hero, and says that it's his job as a human monster to beat up heroes. Mumen Rider tries to fight back with his Justice Crash move, but Garou easily defeats him. The Tank Topper army is also no match for Garou. Seeing all this, Suiryu trembles in fear but decides to confront Garou directly using the same Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist technique. By the time Bang and his brother Bomb arrive, Suiryu has been severely beaten by Garou. Mumen Rider is hospitalized, and Saitama visits him, bringing bananas, but ends up eating them all himself. Mumen Rider tells Saitama that Garou is even more dangerous than the Sea King, a powerful monster from the first season. Tank Top Master adds that Garou's martial arts skills are particularly impressive. Meanwhile, Garou casually spends time with a little boy named Terio, looking at a hero guidebook that contains information about each hero's abilities and details. Garou learns that the A-class hero Golden Ball often visits a bar at a certain time, so Garou arranges a fight with him at a parking lot. On the way, Golden Ball suddenly ambushes Garou, shooting a ball at the wall to bounce it back and pierce Garou's right leg. He then shoots many balls that bounce around the alley, creating a dazzling sight, but Garou effortlessly dodges them, and even kicks them away like soccer balls. As Golden Ball starts losing ground, a sword suddenly appears. Another A-class hero, Spring Mustachio, arrives on the scene. Spring Mustachio is a skilled swordsman and strikes at Garou, forcing him to step back. Spring Mustachio prepares to finish Garou off with a special move. However, instead of dodging or blocking the attack, Garou lets the sword go right through his hand, surprising Spring Mustachio. Garou punches Spring Mustachio in the face, defeating him with a single blow. Garou explains that he read about Spring Mustachio's finishing move in the hero guide, which is how he knew how to defeat him. In the hospital room, Tank Top Master tells Saitama that Garou's terrifying aspect lies in his ability to neutralize the hero's techniques, anticipate their attacks, and strike at their weak points. He also mentions Garou's exceptional martial arts skills. Saitama visits Suiryu in the hospital, expressing his interest in learning more about martial arts. Suiryu suggests that Saitama should go and learn from Bang, as he lacks even the basics. Suiryu gives Saitama a ticket to the Super Fight Tournament, a major martial arts competition. Suiryu originally planned to participate in the competition, but he can't go because he's injured. So, he gives his ticket to Saitama to watch the fight and learn more about martial arts. When the poor superhero Saitama sees that the tournament champion can win 3 million yen, he gets a bold idea. Garou, who has just defeated 2 A-class heroes, is walking down the street when he bumps into Saitama, who is buying a wig. Garou thinks Saitama is just a low-level hero and gives him a quick chop on the shoulder. But Saitama doesn't even flinch, and he wonders why Garou did that. In response, Saitama delivers a chop of his own, and Garou feels like the sky is falling, losing consciousness and fainting. After coming home, Saitama puts on a wig and looks at himself in the mirror, pretending to be Suiryu. He signs up for the super fight competition using Suiryu's name. He needs the wig to look like Suiryu. When Genos sees this, he thinks Saitama is feeling insecure about his bald head. Genos contacts Dr. Casino, hoping to arrange a hair transplant surgery for Saitama. Saitama gets frustrated and explains that he wants to participate in the fighting competition to experience martial arts. On the other hand, Garou is having a dream. In his dream, a younger version of Garou is watching TV and feeling angry. He questions why justice always has to prevail, and why monsters are always destined to be defeated in battles. He believes that in this world, the popular ones hold all the power, while the disliked ones face nothing but defeat. He finds this unfair. Determined to change this, Garou decides to become the strongest human monster who can surpass everyone else. He wakes up from distant memories, lying on a pile of garbage, feeling dizzy, with a throbbing headache and a sore neck. He doesn't remember anything about encountering Saitama before. Because Garou is causing trouble, the Hero Association decides that any officials must be accompanied by an S-class hero when they go out. King receives a notification that he needs to accompany an official, but he is busy playing a game. Metal Bat is forced to take on the task. He needs to protect Narinki, a VIP sponsor of the Hero Association, and his son Waganma. While Metal Bat's sister calls him, suddenly there's a loud noise. Two monsters kidnap Waganma. Metal Bat spits on his Metal Bat, getting ready for a fight. On the other side, Saitama disguises himself as Shiranko and arrives at the martial arts tournament. He looks at the list of participants and tries to gauge their strength. Sour Face, a former disciple of Bang, shows up to prevent him from realizing that he is not Shiranko. Saitama nervously keeps his face covered with a piece of paper. He talks about how someone pretended to be Wolfman in the previous tournament and won the championship. But the authorities discovered that the real Wolfman was tied up, so they made a new rule. If anyone pretends to be someone else, they will be disqualified and have to pay a lot of money as a punishment. Saitama starts sweating heavily upon hearing this. He had planned to earn some money, but if he is caught cheating, it would make his already not so wealthy life even worse. Sour Face analyzes that the person who impersonated Wolfman last year was Garou. He reveals that 6 months ago, Garou caused a lot of trouble at Bang's dojo. He hurt many students, including Sour Face. Therefore, Garou was kicked out of the dojo. This made Sour Face quit too. When Sour Face insults Shiranko, Saitama points out that at least Shiranko was brave enough to fight Garou one-on-one, while Sour Face gave up. Saitama promises to win the tournament, which makes Sour Face angry. On the other side, Metal Bat already defeats the monsters. Before Junior Centipede dies, it calls its father in tears. A bigger centipede emerges from the ground and sends Metal Bat flying meters away. Senior Centipede appears along with the foul-smelling Rafflesidon. Rafflesidon releases sleeping gas, causing Narinki and his son to instantly pass out, and Metal Bat is affected too. It seems like a fierce battle is about to take place. Garou is talking to Terio about the hero named Watchdogman listed in the hero guide when they receive an alert about monsters invading. Garou finds out about it and gets ready to confront Metal Bat. At the same time, Metal Bat is in the middle of a fierce battle with the monsters. Even though he is outnumbered, he doesn't give up. However, because he has been exposed to sleeping gas for a long time, his mind starts to become fuzzy. Seizing the opportunity, the monsters attack and beat up Metal Bat. Just as they think they are about to win, Metal Bat hits himself on the head with his bat, which surprises the monsters. This action breaks the effect of the sleeping gas and greatly improves Metal Bat's fighting abilities. By giving each monster a powerful strike, he successfully defeats them. Narinki and his son are still asleep, and two C-class heroes come to assist Metal Bat. Suddenly, the ground shakes as Elder Centipede emerges. It is a dragon-level monster. In the first season, it's mentioned that the Hero Association classifies the danger level of monsters into different grades. The most dangerous grade is called God level, followed by Dragon level, Demon level, and Tiger level. Metal Bat instructs the two C-class heroes to take Narinki and his son to safety while he stays to confront Elder Centipede. However, the monster's exoskeleton is incredibly tough, and Metal Bat's bat strike only numbs his arm. Metal Bat realizes that the centipede's face might be its weak point. He jumps onto its head and delivers a powerful blow to the monster's face. Enraged, the monster retaliates with a devastating attack. As the citizens flee upon realizing the appearance of a dragon-level threat, Garou goes against the flow of the crowd and heads towards Metal Bat. Elder Centipede hits Metal Bat and sends him crashing next to Garou. Garou seizes the opportunity to attack Metal Bat. Just as Elder Centipede is about to grab Narinki and his son, the 6th-ranked S-class hero, Metal Knight, arrives in the nick of time. Seizing the chance, the two C-class heroes escape with Narinki and his son. However, they are unaware that reinforcements from the monsters have also arrived. Can the two C-class heroes protect Narinki and his son? On the other side, Metal Bat and Garou engage in a fierce battle. Garou throws a punch, thinking it will finish off Metal Bat, but Metal Bat counters with an upward swing of his bat, forcing Garou to temporarily evade the attack. Seeing Metal Bat covered in blood but still displaying such strength astonishes Garou. Then, Metal Bat takes a direct hit from Garou's flying kick using his head. Garou is shocked as he realizes that Metal Bat's special ability is that every time he gets hurt, his body becomes stronger. Metal Bat complains that Garou's moves are too slow. This angers Garou, who punches a manhole covering to the air and swiftly moves to Metal Bat's side, delivering a rapid series of punches. Metal Bat swings his bat furiously at Garou, but he can't even touch a strand of Garou's hair. Even when Metal Bat uses his special attack, it has no effect on Garou's water stream rock smashing fists. With a powerful punch from Garou, Metal Bat falls to the ground. Suddenly, Metal Bat gets back up. He sees Garou with his back turned, seizing the opportunity to take him down. But then, Metal Bat's little sister, Zenko, appears and stops him. She reminds Metal Bat of their promise never to use violence in front of her. Garou prepares to attack Metal Bat, but Zenko stands in front of him and questions why they always resort to fighting and violence. Garou may be cruel to heroes, but he cares a lot about children, especially girls. He has no choice but to back off and leave. Meanwhile, Elder Centipede continues to wreak havoc in the city. Metal Bat, disregarding his sister's interference, resolutely approaches the monster. Zenko has no choice but to punch him, knocking him out. As Garou walks down the street, a monster named Phoenix Man invites him to join the Monster Association. It turns out that the association has taken notice of Garou's extraordinary skills and the fact that he considers himself a monster among humans. They want Garou to join their ranks. Garou tears the invitation apart, and Phoenix Man laughs, saying they will meet again. Later, Phoenix Man orders Elder Centipede and other monsters to retreat. They successfully capture Narinki's son, Wagama, and leave. In the final moments, the S-Class hero, Metal Knight, attaches himself to Elder Centipede, preparing to track them back to the monster's headquarters. On Saitama's side, the tournament officially begins. The host passionately introduces all the contestants. Suiryu, who has previously won 4 championships and possesses good looks, has gained high popularity. He steps onto the stage, igniting the audience, and is considered the most likely contestant to win the tournament. As soon as Saitama appears, he is jeered at for his weak appearance. His first opponent is Zakos. Zakos fights with all his might, aiming to defeat Saitama and propose to his girlfriend successfully. However, he is knocked out with a single punch, suffering from a concussion. The only fortunate thing is that Zakos' girlfriend didn't attend. Suiryu is about to face the A-Class hero, Lightning Max. After Lightning Max performs a series of complex gymnastic moves and charges at Suiryu, Suiryu effortlessly kicks him to claim victory. Genos, who is watching nearby, can't help but exclaim that sometimes the greatest talents hide among ordinary people. He didn't expect Suiryu, who has never registered with the Hero Association, to be so powerful. The host receives news that monsters have appeared nearby, and everyone needs to seek shelter immediately. But Cousin, one of the contestants, speaks up and says that this place, filled with skilled fighters, is actually the safest. At the same time, Genos receives a notification from headquarters about the monsters in the city, and he decides to go and eliminate them. Although the main forces of the Monster Association have retreated, there are still some small monsters causing destruction in the city. They encounter Bang, who came looking for Garou, and in the next moment, they are defeated on the spot. But there are still many monsters of different disaster levels attacking various heroes. One beautiful monster named Dues. She has a long whip. When she hits someone with her whip, they become controlled by her. Just as Dues is getting ready to unleash her attacks with her whip, Fubuki arrives. Dues uses her whip to lash Fubuki's subordinates, making them fall under her control and attack Fubuki. Fubuki, unwilling to harm her subordinates, uses her powers to immobilize them. Dues seizes the opportunity and relentlessly whips and beats her. Dues says she's fighting Fubuki to face her sister, Tatsumaki. This remark strikes a nerve with Fubuki. She despises being compared to her sister, Tatsumaki. Enraged, Fubuki's powers surge, and she sends a shockwave that sends Dues flying. Tatsumaki senses her sister's injury and descends from the sky. Dues quickly takes control of Fubuki's subordinates to defend against the attacks while she herself makes her escape. Tatsumaki shows no mercy to Fubuki's underlings, effortlessly tossing them into the walls. In Tatsumaki's eyes, these weaklings are not comrades but burdens. As Fubuki watches Tatsumaki leaves, she once again feels that her powers are much weaker compared to her sister's. On the other side, Genos defeats all the monsters with a single move, except for a powerful demon-level monster called Awakened Cockroach, who is showing off. This cockroach is really strong and easily takes down several A-class heroes. It moves quickly and is so fast that it becomes blurry, possessing both speed and strength. However, Genos has learned from his fight with Sonic how to deal with opponents who rely on speed. So, he uses a special weapon, a liquid that can stick to speedy opponents. This weapon was specifically developed to capture enemies who excel in speed. As soon as Cockroach gets stuck in the liquid, it becomes immobile. Genos fires his cannons at it, and Cockroach can only escape by breaking its own legs. On the competition field, Saitama faces Bakuzan in the second round. Bakuzan quickly notices all the weaknesses in Saitama and confidently approaches him. Bakuzan's hand almost touches Saitama's wig, and if it comes off, Saitama's disguise would be revealed. So, Saitama defeats Bakuzan with one punch. This unexpected victory makes the audience and the host astonished. Meanwhile, some members of the Hero Association find two C-class heroes responsible for protecting Narinki and his son. They discover that Waganma, Narinki's son, has been caught by monsters. If the VIP sponsor, Waganma, decides to withdraw his support for the Hero Association, it will cause significant trouble. After careful consideration, the higher-ups decide to prioritize the rescue mission for Waganma. The recent disasters have put a lot of pressure on the Hero Association, but all of this is under the control of the Monster Association. The leader of the Monster Association, Orochi, is huge, with fangs and tentacles all over his body. His strategist, Gioro, observes everything happening in the human world through monitors. They have captured Metal Knight. The robot is badly damaged, hanging upside down. Through the robot, Gioro tells the person controlling Metal Knight's unit to watch closely and see how fragile humans are. In the face of life and death, everything becomes insignificant. As the competition continues, A-class hero Snek faces Suiryu. Snek attacks with all his might, but Suiryu effortlessly avoids his strikes. Snek falls into self-doubt. He recalls that there are creatures out there that he cannot defeat, no matter how hard he tries. He even admits that there are nameless civilians he cannot protect. He starts to believe that even without him, or the Hero Association, there would still be people who would defeat monsters. At least Suiryu, the man in front of him, doesn't need his protection. Frustrated, Snek asks Suiryu, "How can someone like you, who has no goals and doesn't want to be a hero, be so powerful?" Suiryu casually replies that it might be natural talent, and he questions Snek's minimal martial arts skills and why he considers himself a hero. In Suiryu's view, even if there were no heroes, those who have the strength would survive. The weak are naturally eliminated, whether there are monsters or not. That's how nature works. Suiryu believes that the Hero Association is an unnecessary existence. Proving his point, Suiryu delivers a powerful kick in midair, eliminating Snek from the competition. In the third round, Saitama faces Sour Face. With one punch, Saitama sends Sour Face flying, and the list of the top 4 contestants is revealed. Saitama, Volten, Chose, and Suiryu. The semifinals begin, and Saitama effortlessly defeats Chose with a single punch. He feels disappointed that he hasn't encountered anyone who can give him a real challenge yet. Suiryu easily defeats Volten and prepares to fight Saitama. On the other side, Garou finds Watchdog Man, who is ranked 12th among the S-class heroes. Garou wants to have a one-on-one fight with him, but suddenly a horde of monsters appears. Watchdog Man leaves to deal with the monsters. At the same time, numerous monsters start appearing in various cities. An A-class hero, Sweet Mask, who is also a singer, is interrupted by the monsters during his concert. S-class hero Child Emperor uses his robot Underdog Man to analyze a monster called Eyesight. He tries to explode Underdog Man near Eyesight, but she survives because she hardens her skin. Eyesight then finds Child Emperor, but before she can attack him, she is interrupted and eaten by Pig God, who is ranked 10th among the S-class heroes. Drive Knight, another S-class hero, arrives to support them and easily defeats the monsters. Compared to Genos, another cyborg, Drive Knight can switch weapons and fighting styles according to the situation, like a more advanced version of a transformer. Meanwhile, the monster's destruction escalates as a 100-eyes octopus, capable of devouring buildings, wreaks havoc everywhere. A-class hero Death Gatling gathers other heroes to confront the 100-eyes octopus. However, S-class hero Flashy Flash arrives and inflicts significant damage to the octopus with his super-fast speed. Unfortunately, the wounded octopus thrashes around, causing even more destruction. Death Gatling's continuous shooting is of no use, and they are forced to flee with the other heroes. Just as Flashy Flash is about to use his ultimate move, S-class hero Tatsumaki shows up. She effortlessly lifts the octopus into the air and crushes it. The difference in power between heroes is evident. The Monster Association is not afraid of monsters being killed by heroes because they have developed monster cells. Anyone who consumes this cell can become a tremendously powerful monster. Meanwhile, at the dojo, Atomic Samurai attends a meeting with the Council of Sworn Masters to talk about the Garou issue. Atomic Samurai is worried that Bang might show mercy towards his former student Garou. Therefore, Atomic Samurai plans to team up with several Sworn Masters to kill Garou. 3 Sworn Masters agree without hesitation, but the 4th Sworn Master, Harajirai, says he has joined the Monster Association. He believes that the purpose of the Council of Sworn Masters is to practice swordsmanship and strive for greater strength. Nowadays, by consuming a monster cell, one can gain strength several times that of a human. He takes out 3 monster cells and tries to persuade the other 3 Sworn Masters to consume them. He wants to kill Atomic Samurai, but Atomic Samurai is an S-class hero and has more than enough power to deal with Harajirai. The Super Fight Tournament reaches its final match, and Suiryu is feeling excited. He has already realized that Saitama is incredibly strong and has been waiting for a thrilling fight with him. When the referee says it's time to start, Suiryu attacks first with a kick, nearly knocking off Saitama's wig. Then Suiryu kicks Saitama directly in the face. Although it doesn't cause any harm to Saitama, he is startled because his wig almost falls off. Suiryu confidently states that he is here for the prize money and to spar with skilled fighters. Saitama casually mentions that he came to experience martial arts and win the prize money. He comments that his previous opponents were too weak, and Suiryu was okay. Suiryu's expression changes slightly. He says, "I'll let you experience what martial arts really are, and in return, you make this match more fun for me, okay?" Saitama agrees, and Suiryu quickly moves next to Saitama and kicks towards him. But Saitama, to protect his wig from flying off, keeps moving along with the air flow and doesn't counterattack. Seeing this, Suiryu flies into the air and kicks Saitama towards the ground, trying to embed him into the earth. However, to everyone's surprise, Saitama effortlessly climbs out of the big hole, completely unharmed. Suiryu keeps attacking Saitama, while Saitama continues to protect his wig and doesn't fight back. Their figures cross each other, making it hard to see clearly, but still, there is no clear winner. When Suiryu learns that Saitama is a hero, he becomes extremely disappointed. In his opinion, so-called heroes are just superficial, pretending to be righteous. He thinks all this talk about heroism, sense of justice, and beliefs is nonsense. Hearing Suiryu's disrespectful words about heroes and undermining their beliefs, Saitama gets angry. He no longer protects his wig and directly uses his head to withstand Suiryu's leg strike, causing his wig to fly away. Saitama tells Suiryu not to underestimate other people's dreams. Then, with a punch, he shatters Suiryu's clothes from a distance. Suiryu's entire outfit is in tatters, and he has a face full of cold sweat and fear. The audience is shocked, not because the punch was cool, but because Saitama's bald head is now revealed. Since Saitama pretended to be someone else to participate in the competition, the referee disqualifies him, and Suiryu is declared the champion. Just as Saitama is about to leave, Suiryu suddenly changes his carefree attitude and becomes extremely serious. He smashes the entire arena with one palm strike, followed by a series of continuous attacks against Saitama. Witnessing Suiryu's fierce onslaught, the audience becomes exhilarated. Saitama remains expressionless, calmly taking Suiryu's attacks without retaliating. After enduring numerous blows, Saitama seems to understand something. Martial arts, in simple terms, is a cool form of movement. Saying this, he starts spinning around and having fun. Suiryu, not giving up, tries to attack Saitama once more. But Saitama is really strong, and with a powerful hit, he sends Suiryu flying into a wall. Suiryu accidentally grabbed Saitama's white belt, causing Saitama's pants to fall down. Saitama quickly pulls up his pants and leaves. Suiryu's worldview is completely shattered. In the face of a true strong opponent, he realizes he is nothing. Due to Saitama's rule violation, the championship ultimately goes to Suiryu. Despite the glory, Suiryu knows that if Saitama hadn't held back, he would have been defeated on the spot. Suddenly, 3 crow monsters appear, holding several martial arts contestants captive. Shortly after, the dragon-level monster Goketsu makes a grand entrance. Goketsu reveals that he is a member of the Monster Association. He used to be the champion of the first martial arts tournament, but was defeated by the Monster Association leader. Orochi. Thinking he would die, Orochi and Jiro gave him the opportunity to become a monster and gain incredible strength. The condition was that he had to be loyal to the Monster Association. Then, Goketsu shows everyone something called monster cells. Eating these cells can transform them into powerful monsters. He offers the contestants a choice. They can eat the monster cells and join the Monster Association, or they can refuse and face the consequences of being killed. A martial arts contestant named Rosie, who is afraid of dying, quickly eats a monster cell. Instantly, he transforms into a muscular monster. Rosie, now a monster, seeks revenge against his opponent who defeated him in the previous fight and throws him against a wall, but is killed by a contestant Chose. Seeing the energy Rosie gains after transforming into a monster, Chose decides to eat a monster cell himself. He quickly transforms into a monster and feels the surge of power in his body. More contestants consume the cells and transform into monsters. However, Suiryu remains unfazed. He gracefully moves his body and engages in a battle with the newly transformed monsters. He effortlessly kicks away a three-eyed monster that approaches him and easily dispatches the other two. Chose steps forward to confront Suiryu, but Suiryu blocks Cho's pointy horns with his body, sustaining no damage. Realizing that his opponent is not to be underestimated, Chose decides to unleash his ultimate attack. He creates a large energy ball and throws it at Suiryu, but Suiryu sends it soaring high into the sky. Suiryu then uses his knee to break Cho's horns, severely injuring him. Suiryu employs his special move, the Dark Body Phoenix Rising Fist, to push Cho's away and finally defeat him. Goketsu is watching the fight and thinks it's a bit of a waste to kill Suiryu. He suggests that Suiryu should join the monsters. Suiryu ponders for a moment and reaches for a monster cell, but then smashes it onto Goketsu's face. Suiryu says he doesn't want to eat the monster cells and become as ugly as Goketsu. Suiryu jumps high in the air and tries to kick Goketsu's face, but Goketsu hits him back really hard. Suiryu falls to the floor and gets hurt badly, which makes him vomit blood. On the other side, Watchdog Man is sitting on top of the defeated monster's body, receiving warm praise from the citizens. Garou, who witnessed the whole process, marvels at how powerful the S-class heroes are. However, he has figured out Watchdog Man's moves from observing the fight. He attempts to attack, but Watchdog Man's speed and strength exceed Garou's expectations. Garou is completely overwhelmed in this battle. Meanwhile, Suiryu is lying unconscious, and Goketsu is about to step on him. Suiryu musters up his remaining strength and launches a series of quick attacks, but they are ineffective. The crow monsters start attacking the other participants. The others are unable to fight back and quickly get defeated. While Suiryu is distracted, Goketsu breaks his arm. In the face of such a formidable enemy, Suiryu is like a doll being toyed with. He uses all his powers, but it's like tickling the opponent, and he has no strength to resist when Goketsu flicks a finger. Suiryu, barely clinging to life, becomes the crow monster's food. Suiryu asks Bakuzan for help, but Bakuzan ignores him after assessing the situation. Bakuzan realizes that humans are indeed too weak after seeing Suiryu being toyed with by the monster. So, he decides to devour all the remaining monster cells in one go, hoping to become a powerful monster himself. However, he eats too much, and his body can't handle it, causing him to fall to the ground. With Suiryu on the verge of death, two heroes, Snek and Lightning Max, who had just participated in the super fight tournament and left, suddenly return. They come back with only one purpose: to save Suiryu. This act erases Suiryu's prejudice against heroes and replaces it with gratitude as the three of them join forces to defeat the crow monsters. As Suiryu prepares to escape, he realizes that the two heroes have no intention of leaving. Despite the vast difference in strength, the two heroes choose to fight Goketsu to buy time for Suiryu to escape. Fear takes over Suiryu, and he disregards everything, frantically running for his life. However, halfway through his escape, Suiryu encounters Bakuzan. It turns out that Bakuzan's transformation into a monster was not a failure but instead gave him the power of a dragon-level monster. Bakuzan mercilessly torments Suiryu, who is left barely breathing. Jiro talks to Orochi and informs him that their plan to conquer humans is progressing well. They use a small flying eye to contact Goketsu and tell him to return to the monster base because S-class heroes might be coming. Goketsu orders Bakuzan to retreat together, but Bakuzan, who has gained immense power, refuses to listen. Goketsu teaches Bakuzan a lesson with just one punch, showing him that there are always stronger beings. Afterward, Goketsu leaves on his own. Suiryu pleads with Bakuzan to spare his life. However, Bakuzan is a complete sadist, and becoming a monster has unleashed his true nature. Suiryu's screams of agony echo through the arena as he falls into despair. Fueled by fear, he can only do one thing: seek help from the heroes he once looked down upon. In his final moments, all Suiryu hopes for is a glimmer of light to shine through. And then, the most handsome bald hero, Saitama, arrives. Seeing the shining bald head, he recognizes it as Saitama. Bakuzan, upon seeing Saitama, recalls how Saitama defeated him with a single punch in their previous match, and he becomes terrified, screaming in fear. Saitama doesn't recognize the transformed Bakuzan and asks, "Who are you? Have I seen you before?" Bakuzan regains his composure and proudly declares that he is now a monster, and vows to kill Saitama with his ultimate technique. Saitama, being lazy and uninterested in figuring out who his opponent is, simply delivers a punch that sends Bakuzan flying. Suiryu is astonished, looking at Bakuzan's mangled body, and silently thanks Saitama for sparing his life during that previous fight. Suiryu warns Saitama not to wander around, as Goketsu, who is incredibly powerful and skilled in martial arts, may still be nearby. Suiryu feels like a mere puppet being toyed with in front of Goketsu. Upon hearing about Goketsu's immense power and martial arts prowess, Saitama becomes interested in facing him in a battle. Despite Suiryu's efforts to stop him, Saitama's footsteps cannot be halted. Suddenly, a loud noise comes from a distance, and Suiryu assumes that Goketsu has killed Saitama. He feels deeply saddened that such a powerful hero, capable of saving many lives, would sacrifice himself in vain. However, with a resounding boom, Goketsu's head descends from the sky, followed by Saitama appearing right after. Saitama tells Suiryu that he doesn't think Goketsu was all that impressive since he was defeated with just one punch. Witnessing this incredibly powerful man, Suiryu's thoughts undergo a tremendous change. He wants to become a hero like Saitama and learn from him, but Saitama refuses to take on another disciple. As he walks on the street, Saitama notices that the monsters have disappeared. Reflecting on his recent life experiences, Saitama suddenly feels a deep sense of emptiness. He realizes that being a hero can also be boring, and participating in martial arts tournaments for the sake of experience is also quite dull. Saitama's thoughts are interrupted by King's appearance. Saitama shares his frustration with King, explaining that he no longer feels the joy of progress because he has become too powerful. He feels empty when fighting anyone. King disagrees and believes that Saitama is wrong to think that way. The greatest heroes need unwavering justice, exceptional fighting ability, and the courage to face difficulties. Saitama finds King's words boring. King suggests playing games at his house since it's so dull. Saitama declines, stating that he has no interest and that even if he loses, it won't affect him at all. However, when King proposes a game match using only 2 fingers, Saitama suddenly becomes excited. Just then, Garou happens to appear after his intense battle with Watchdog Man, where he almost lost his life. When Garou sees the legendary King, his fighting spirit reignites. Garou anticipates King's moves and charges at him aggressively. Saitama, thinking Garou is just a street thug looking for trouble, kicks him into a wall. Afterward, Saitama mentions the recent news about a hero hunter appearing and expresses his anticipation for the hunter's strength. Little does he know that the hero hunter is actually Garou, whom he has already defeated twice. In the forest, Sonic is training when he encounters a group of ninjas who invite him to join the Monster Association. Sonic refuses at first but becomes thoughtful when he sees how powerful their monster forms are. Unable to defeat Saitama as a human, he decides to abandon his human identity and transform into a monster. He throws the monster cell into a pot and fries it with seasonings before eating it. However, because he cooks the monster cell, he not only doesn't turn into a monster but also spends the whole day with diarrhea. Inside the Hero Association, a staff member controlled by monsters barges into the meeting, advocating for a ceasefire between humans and monsters to establish a harmonious coexistence. The members of the Hero Association are delighted, thinking that the monsters want peace. However, the intruder suddenly shoots an executive, making it clear that their claim of peaceful coexistence is a lie. The monsters demand a Hero Association to assemble their strongest forces for a battle against the Monster Association. Meanwhile, in a deep cave, Gioro speaks to a group of monsters, telling them their plan to defeat all the heroes from the Hero Association and take control of human society with Orochi as their leader. The monsters become chaotic as the monsters join the association not to serve Orochi but to bring down the Hero Association. Orochi, angry at their disobedience, decides to teach them a lesson by eating a awakened cockroach, who was previously defeated by Genos. The monsters are shocked into silence. Goro emphasizes that only the strongest will rise to power, and if they can defeat Orochi, a new leader can take charge. Orochi realizes that Goketsu hasn't returned and sends a clone to find him. To their surprise, they discover that Goketsu is already dead, proving that even among heroes, there are monstrous beings. Meanwhile, Garou, who was knocked out by Saitama's kick, wakes up but has lost his memory once again. In pain from his injuries, he believes that King is responsible for his condition. Garou is lying in an old shed, recovering from his injuries. After being kicked by Saitama, he feels weak and has a high fever. It seems like he won't be able to move normally for the next 2 to 3 days. Suddenly, he notices someone entering, and to his surprise, it's Terio, the boy who used to read the hero guide with him in the park. A-class hero Death Gatling arrives with other A-class heroes. They decide to eliminate the severely injured Garou. Inside the shed, Garou realizes that he is surrounded by people. He borrows the hero guide from Terio and looks at the pictures of the heroes outside, checking their abilities. Garou tells Terio to stay on the ground and prepares to go outside and fight. Before opening the door, he reminds the heroes not to damage the shed behind him. Then, he jumps up onto the roof of the shed in one leap. Even though he is badly injured, he still acts very arrogant. Soon after, Dun shoots at him with 2 guns, Stinger fires spears at him, and Shooter shoots a series of arrows. The following chain whips, iron balls, and various combos make it difficult for Garou to defend himself. Under this carefully designed, 360-degree relentless attack, Garou's already injured body suffers even more. Given his current condition, breaking through the encirclement seems impossible. With multiple injuries and the heroes watching closely, Garou appears to be in a desperate situation. However, he remains unfazed and even mocks the heroes, saying they have an inflated sense of self-worth. They don't even have any S-class heroes among them, yet they dare to come and kill him. This statement hits Death Gatling hard. Whether in the Hero Association or among ordinary people, S-class heroes always receive the highest treatment. Because of the hero ranking system, heroes are divided into different classes, but Death Gatling doesn't accept it. He believes that being an S-class hero doesn't necessarily mean being outstanding. Defeating Garou would be the best proof of their abilities. Garou smirks, realizing that they want to take all the credit, and intentionally didn't invite any S-class heroes. Garou starts feeling dizzy due to the poison on the arrows. Sensing Garou's vulnerability, Chain and Toad quickly acts, entangling Garou's right leg with a chain. Smile Man follows suit, and hurls a big ball towards Garou. However, Garou changes the direction of the ball, knocking down Chain and Toad. He then strikes the big ball, sending it flying like a bowling ball, knocking Gun away. Shooter shoots arrows, and Wild Horn attacks, but Garou uses Wild Horn as a shield to block the arrows. Glasses attacks Garou by throwing stones at him, but Garou catches the stones and uses them to knock down Shooter, who tried to sneak up on him. Stinger charges forward with his spear, but Garou slams Wild Horn into the ground, making him faint and using him as a shield. Taking advantage of the distraction, Garou tries to escape. Death Gatling starts firing his bullets, but they all miss Garou. Garou punches Glasses away and uses his Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist to make Stinger bleed heavily. Death Gatling, the only hero left, decides to use his powerful attack called Death Shower. He thinks it's safe to use because the other heroes are far away from where the attack will hit. But Garou tries to tell him that there is a child named Terio inside the shed behind him. Unfortunately, Death Gatling doesn't believe Garou and ignores his warning. In an instant, Death Shower is unleashed, and black bullets gush out like muddy streams. Garou steps forward, using his Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist to split the bullets into 2 streams, protecting Terio, who is taking shelter in the shed. By the time Death Gatling's bullets run out, Garou is covered in blood, and the ground is torn apart. Thankfully, Terio is unharmed. Garou probably tells Death Gatling that it's a shame they didn't bring any S-class heroes, as they wouldn't have ended up in such a situation. Death Gatling, feeling angry and humiliated, pulls out a dagger and aims it at Garou. However, Garou easily knocks him away without getting hurt. Garou insults the heroes' efforts, calling them weak, and destroys Death Gatling's powerful Gatling gun. Meanwhile, Terio comes out of the shed and sees the defeated heroes and Garou. He gets scared and runs away, calling for help. Garou considers reaching out to Terio but decides against it, and instead removes the arrows from his back. Just as Garou is about to leave with his numerous injuries, Genos suddenly appears. It turns out that Glasses had sent a distress signal before fainting. Genos attacks Garou multiple times with his machine gun blow, but Garou fights back with his water stream rock smashing fist and kicks Genos hard, causing him to fall into the ground and get covered in rocks. While the two are engaged in a fierce battle, Saitama and King are at home playing a game. After playing for a whole day, King, who only used 2 fingers to play, has won against Saitama 81 times. Saitama receives a message about the monsters appearing. Saitama feels frustrated from losing so many times in the game, and decides to go out and defeat some monsters to console himself. Saitama notices that Genos is nowhere to be found, so he decides to go look for him. Meanwhile, Garou is losing his strength. He suddenly remembers Watchdog Man's fighting style and tries to mimic it. He moves on all fours towards Genos at high speed, surprising him. Garou breaks Genos' arm, but falls into Genos' trap. Genos' equipment has evolved to be very advanced, and he remotely controls his arm to capture Garou, pinning him to a tree. However, in Genos' eyes, Garou is just a small fry, and fighting him feels like a waste of time with no sense of accomplishment. Garou is furious at being judged this way, and he forcefully breaks the tree, freeing himself from captivity. He proudly declares himself as the strongest hero hunter. Just as Genos is about to attack Garou, a group of monsters emerges from the ground. They are from the Monster Association, and have come to invite Garou to join them, but Garou refuses once again. Genos easily defeats some small monsters. As Genos prepares to fire incineration cannon at Garou, Bang suddenly descends from the sky and kicks Garou down. Bang wants to deal with his former disciple personally. Bang's brother Bomb arrives shortly after to help Genos deal with the small monsters so that Bang can focus on Garou. Once master and disciple, they are now enemies. Garou gathers his strength and prepares to face the upcoming battle. With the powerful strikes of Water Stream Rock Smashing Fists, the battle between Bang and Garou officially begins. Although their techniques are similar, the master is still stronger than the disciple. Garou can only passively endure the relentless attacks from Bang, who strikes like a tide. Looking at Bang's fierce assault, Garou realizes that his life is in danger if he continues like this. With his remaining strength, he throws up some dirt and leaps from the ground, using his hands and feet to move swiftly, attempting to seize Death Gatling as a shield. However, Bang instantly teleports, leaving no chance for Garou. The Monster Association is very interested in Garou, and a monster named Phoenix Man, following Orochi's orders, tries to take Garou back. But the presence of Bang, Bomb, and Genos complicates the situation. Phoenix Man can only hover above them, looking for an opportunity to take Garou away. Bang and his brother Bomb join forces to attack Garou with their powerful techniques: Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist and Whirlwind Iron Cutting Fists. Their combined assault leaves Garou struggling on the brink of death, and memories from his childhood flash through his mind. Back then, Garou and his classmates were playing a game where they pretended to be heroes and monsters. Kind-hearted little Garou saw one of his classmates, who was playing the monster, being bullied by a classmate named Tatsu, who was playing the hero. Garou felt really worried and thought the classmate playing the monster was being treated unfairly. When he expressed his opinion, Garou became an outcast in the eyes of his classmates, and Tatsu decided that Garou should play the role of the monster from then on. Because he was constantly bullied by Tatsu, Garou ended up fighting with him. However, instead of understanding the situation, the principal blamed Garou for the trouble. Garou experienced firsthand the unfairness of the world. Tatsu, being popular, could play the superhero role, while Garou, being quiet and reserved, was forced to be a monster. The distinction between good and evil, heroes and monsters, was simply a matter of the strong oppressing the weak. Just because one is weak, does it mean they have to be at the mercy of others? This unfair treatment fuels Garou's anger. He fights back against the heroes and knocks Bang and Bomb away, causing the ground to crack. Just when everyone is surprised, Phoenix Man seizes the opportunity and uses his wings to blow the heroes away, taking Garou with him. Genos tries to attack them with his powerful cannon, but Phoenix Man quickly summons Elder Centipede to block the blast. Elder Centipede emerges from the ground, shaking and splitting the earth. Genos, Bang and Bomb save the unconscious heroes and realize that a fierce battle is about to begin. Genos attacks the monster's eyes with laser cannons, while Bang and Bomb unleash their ultimate move, the Whirlwind Water Stream Roaring Aura Sky Ripping Fists, shattering the monster's outer shell with an impressive strike. Unable to withstand such a powerful onslaught, the monster's body shatters and disintegrates on the spot. However, in the next moment, Elder Centipede sheds its skin and regenerates, becoming even stronger. People become worried because if Elder Centipede enters the city, the damage and casualties will be unpredictable. Seeing this unbeatable monster, Genos steps forward. Bang and Bomb try to convince him not to fight, knowing that they don't have a chance, and it's pointless to sacrifice themselves. But Genos, as a hero, cannot ignore the situation. Genos leaps into the air and swiftly attacks the monster's eyes with his arm blades. The centipede feels great pain and tries to bite Genos' leg with its mouth, but Genos manages to break free. Unfortunately, the monster catches him with an antenna and uses its pincers to cut his body in half. However, Genos' body miraculously rejoins together, and he bravely enters the centipede's mouth, breaking one of its teeth. Inside, Genos faces dangerous acidic fluids that could harm him severely, but he summons his strength and activates a powerful weapon called Ultra Spiral Incineration Cannon. However, Genos' full-force attack doesn't harm the monster at all. Elder Centipede's invincible and abnormal defense makes the heroes realize that they can't do anything and can only escape. Bang saves Genos in midair and escapes with Bomb. Elder Centipede relentlessly chases them, and they can see that it's about to enter the city, putting the citizens in danger. King asks the Hero Association about Elder Centipede's weakness, and they mention that Elder Centipede has a huge grudge against Blast, the top-ranked S-Class hero. Then, as Elder Centipede is about to enter the city, a loud voice is heard from the other side. King shouts that he has brought Blast and warns Elder Centipede to either come and die or leave immediately. Upon hearing Blast's name, Elder Centipede charges towards King like a raging waterfall. But even though King's trembling with fear, he stands his ground because behind him stands the strongest man in the whole universe. With a single punch from Saitama, Elder Centipede disintegrates instantly, and all the frustration Saitama had from losing 81 matches in the game disappears. Genos kneels down and asks his teacher what he lacks, to which Saitama casually responds, "Power," and that's where the second season ends. I'm already looking forward to the third season of the anime. If you'd like to watch more anime recap, subscribe to my channel and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.